What I think is unique about the way China has addressed poverty is from a top-down central leadership, somebody to make sure that what he said happens actually does happen on the ground. And secondly, I think the realisation that we need to tackle poverty in different ways, that we need national policies that address basic economic growth, that we need provincial policies that can think about infrastructure support so that we're not blaming individuals for their poverty but putting in place systems to support them. At county level, investing in education, investing in training. At county level too, thinking about social assistance, thinking about supporting those who can't work, and the same sort of thing at village level. So there's an integration of policies. There's also China's unique ability to mobilize, to enable prosperous cities in the east to support villages addressing poverty in the west, that find commercial organisations do likewise. So in a sense, it really is a true mobilisation of society to address the issues of poverty. Some of that, I think, is probably not something that can be followed in other countries. I think the targeted alleviation strategy that identifies individuals requires a very sophisticated, very well developed administrative system to identify and to follow people through. To mobilise resources in terms of manpower to address poverty at that level of the individual, I think is also quite difficult for other countries to achieve. But the basic message of setting a challenging but nevertheless attainable goal that China did, and then to back that with top-level leadership, I think those are important lessons that others can take away. China's achievements are incredible. They're outstanding in a historical sense. That 30 years ago, 60% of people living in China were living in extreme poverty. That's on less than $2 a day. And in the last 2 years alone, something like 36,000 people have been lifted out of poverty every single day. And that's been done by a strategy which has prioritised poverty alleviation, a strategy that has been led by the top, which often doesn't happen in strategies to address poverty, but here that leadership has been crucially important. The big takeaway is we are celebrating, as we should celebrate, China's great achievement, but the party recognises that that is now history. That important goal has been attained, and China is thinking ahead with a whole new agenda, which is in many ways a much more challenging agenda. The notion of rural revitalization, this notion that by 2050, we can make incomes and living standards in rural areas the same as they are in urban areas. That's an incredibly challenging goal that China has set itself. If it achieves that, it will undoubtedly be the first nation in history that has brought those two living standards together and therefore made a whole country that shares a common prosperity. I personally believe that China is perhaps the only country that can achieve that, because the basic notions of economics suggest that cities are more efficient than rural areas. They gain from the benefits of scale, of large numbers of people, large markets, close to one another, so there are no transport costs. So the market would work always to favour urban areas. China has the possibility through a planned economy to challenge that basic motion and motor of economics that takes us towards urbanisation. And recognising that through the state it's possible to share those resources and to think creatively about doing so. So it is an enormous challenge.